Okay, guys, we are going to continue with electrochemical series, and we'll understand what is basically electrochemical series, what are the concepts involved behind it, and we will, this is a little theoretical part, so I've already written in the board what I need to explain and what you need to understand as well. So if you have any questions, certainly you can post your comments, and we will continue with this chapter with more of it. Now, we are going to cover what is electrochemical series. Now, what is electrochemical series? Just as we have reactivity series in which we compare different elements with hydrogen in terms of their reactivity. So, some elements are placed above hydrogen, some elements are placed below hydrogen, and hydrogen is taken as a standard of comparing the reactivity. In the same way, we have an electrochemical series. So, we can call this as a kind of activity series. This is basically a kind of activity series in which the arrangement of elements is in order of their increasing electrode potential. Now, what is this electrode potential? See, the arrangement of atoms is in order of their increasing electrode potential values. So, obviously, we are going to understand in deep about what is electrode potential and what is the concept behind its calculation. Okay. This was established by measuring the potential of various electrodes versus standard hydrogen electrode. So, this was established by measuring various electrodes, the potential of various electrodes with standard hydrogen electrode. Okay. So, comparing with standard hydrogen electrode, we have basically devised this electrode. Okay. So, established by measuring the potential of various electrodes, various types of electrodes, whatever electrodes are being used, they are basically compared to the standard hydrogen electrode. This is also known as She. Okay. Now, what is standard electrode potential? Since we are talking here about electrode potential, see, we know that in any kind of electrochemical reaction there are two reactions, basically one that is going on around the anode and the one that is going on around in the cathode. So, each of them is regarded as a half reaction. Okay. So, half cell can only work in combination with the other half cell. So, we know that anode cannot work without a cathode and cathode cannot work without an anode. Okay. So, the half cell reactions which are taking place, they can only work when the other half is there. Okay. So, half cell can only work in combination with other half cell and cannot work independently. They cannot work independently. Okay. So, not possible to determine standard electrode potential. So, independently we cannot determine standard electrode potential because we need to compare it with something. See, just as we have weights and measurements, right? When we weigh anything, we have to weigh it in comparison with iron. Mass of 1 kg iron weight of 1 kg iron being balanced by the weight that you are keeping here. In the same way, since it's a half cell reaction that we are referring to, whether it is a cathode reaction, whether it is an anode side reaction, it is always a half cell reaction. So, it has to be, so the other half is absolutely necessary for the reaction to take place. So, in this case, we cannot determine standard electrode potential of an element independently. It has to be compared. It is a comparable quantity or a relative quantity. Okay. So, electrode potential is basically a relative quantity. We can only determine relative electrode potential. It is not possible to determine individual electrode potential independently. We can only determine it relatively. Okay. So, one electrode is selected as reference electrode arbitrarily. One electrode is selected as reference electrode arbitrarily. Okay. So, there is one electrode which is selected as reference electrode. The potential of this electrode is fixed as 0. The potential of this electrode is fixed as 0. One electrode is selected, and this electrode is basically known as She or NHE, which is standard hydrogen electrode. Okay. Which is standard hydrogen electrode, and this is basically universally accepted. So, this is universally accepted as the standard electrode. Okay. 1 second here. So, the standard electrode that we are arbitrarily, we are just as we in mathematics say let this be X. So, this is an arbitrary assumption. So, this is standard hydrogen electrode, okay, and this is universally accepted as the reference electrode. Okay. The standard hydrogen electrode is also known as normal hydrogen electrode, okay, universally accepted as the reference electrode. This is universally accepted as a reference electrode. So, we are always going to compare the electrode potential of an element with hydrogen, and that's how the whatever readings you are getting, that is in pure comparison with the hydrogen, standard hydrogen electrode or normal hydrogen electrode. Okay. So if she acts as a anode, if, see, this is also known as a reversible electrode. We'll understand why it is known as a reversible electrode. The standard hydrogen electrode, the standard hydrogen electrode or the normal hydrogen electrode, the standard hydrogen electrode or the normal hydrogen electrode is also known as the reversible electrode. Okay, so if she is acting as the anode, then what do we have? H2 gas forming 2H plus and 2 electrons. If she is acting as the cathode, then what do we have? 2H plus 2 electrons will be H2 gas. Okay, reversible electrode, what do we have? H2 gas is 2H plus 2 electrons. Okay, so that is the reason why we call it as a reversible electrode, because the reaction goes forward in the same way as it comes backward. Okay, so H2 gas, see, if you look at it, we know that what is a cathode and what is the anode. We have actually referred to, right? Cathode acts as the reduction potential and anode acts as the oxidation site. Okay, so anode, loss of electrons is oxidation. See, H2 gas basically undergoing loss of electrons, and when it behaves as a cathode, it is gain of electrons, that is, it is the reduction site. Cathode, we know, is the reduction site. Cathode is the reduction site and anode is the oxidation site. We have already learned and studied this in the previous slides. I have covered this in the previous slides. So anode is the oxidation site wherein loss of electrons takes place, and cathode is the reduction site where gain of electrons takes place. So look at this, 2H plus ions, they gain 2 electrons and they form H2 gas once again. Okay, so if you kind of combine these two equations, what do we get here? H2 gas will be equal to 2H plus 2 electrons. That's a reversible basically process. Okay, so this is about how we consider hydrogen as a standard hydrogen electrode and why we consider it, because arbitrarily there has to be another half. We cannot just have one reaction, we have to have two reactions which are taking place in an electrochemical reaction. Just as we have a cathode, we need to have an anode. If we have an anode, we need to have a cathode. So half cell reaction is one and the other half is one. So similarly, we cannot have a standard electrode potential. For example, conductivity, if we look at conductance of metallic conductors, it's an individual property, it's not a comparable property. It is basically the rate at which the electricity or the ease at which the electricity is flowing through a conductor. But when we come to flow of ions, obviously the flow of ions will be dependent on both the cations and anions. So we cannot consider it as an individual property. So in order to ease the confusion, we have arbitrarily selected hydrogen as the standard electrode. And all the electrode potential readings that we are getting is in comparison with hydrogen. Just as we have in case of atomic weight, we compare it with the 1/12 of the mass of carbon 12 atom. Okay, so every atomic weight that we are getting, atomic mass unit, it is basically 1/12 of the, it is compared to 1/12 of the mass of carbon 12 atom. In the same way, this is also comparable. All electrode potentials are comparable to the electrode potential of hydrogen. So whatever readings we are getting, this is considered as, so in case of hydrogen, the arbitrarily selected, it is 0. So what is the standard electrode potential of hydrogen? It is 0.00 volts. Okay, standard electrode potential of hydrogen will be 0.00 volt. That is how it is selected arbitrarily. Okay, I hope this clears your confusion. A lot of theory stuff, so you can take a snapshot of the same for your clarification. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comment section. We are going to continue with the other aspects of electrochemistry. Okay, just as in the previous slide we saw, we actually are comparing the electrode potential to the hydrogen electrode. So what is basically the NHE or the SHE, which is also the normal hydrogen electrode or standard hydrogen electrode. So if you look into this, this is what it will look like. Okay, electrode potential is always half cell, so the other half cell is compared to She. Okay, that is standard hydrogen electrode. So it is basically what? A platinum rod. This is basically a platinum wire. Okay, and we know platinum is inert. Okay, it will never take part in an electrochemical reaction. However, being a metal, it will act as an electrode. Okay, so here is hydrogen gas which is getting blown. Okay, so this is platinum wire sealed in a glass tube. Why do we need a glass tube? Because from here hydrogen gas which is at 1 atmospheric pressure is being blown into it. Okay, so platinum wire is sealed in a glass tube. This is basically a glass tube. This is basically a glass tube which has platinum wire sealed in it, has a platinum foil attached to it, coated with finely divided platinum. So this is basically coated with finely divided platinum, and this is the platinum electrode. Okay, this acid basically is hydrochloric acid. This is 1 molar hydrochloric acid. This is 1 molar hydrochloric acid. Okay, pure hydrogen gas at 1 atmospheric pressure is constantly bubbled into the solution. This is basically connected to electricity supply and all. So pure hydrogen gas at 298 degree Kelvin, which is basically the room temperature. Pure hydrogen gas at 298 Kelvin, which is room temperature, and 1 atmospheric pressure is basically bubbled into the solution. Okay, surface of the foil acts as a site for reaction. The surface of the foil basically acts as a site for reaction. So here's what the reaction will look like. Hydrogen gas, 2H plus 2 electrons, and here is the hydrogen gas which is getting dissipated in this. Okay, hydrogen gas is equal to 2H plus 2 electrons, and we have here 2H plus 2 electrons is equal to hydrogen gas. That is what is happening at the cathode. This is what is happening at the anode. This is what is happening at the cathode. Not something that we will generally have to face as a question, but since we have this in mind as to how we are comparing this to a hydrogen electrode, so this is how a particular hydrogen electrode will look like. Okay, this is how it will look like. Hydrogen gas at 1 atmospheric pressure and at room temperature, which is around 298 Kelvin, is blown into this glass tube. So obviously what will happen, it will be since it is under electricity, it gets this is what happens at the anode. We know that anode is the place where electrons are getting lost. Okay, and this is what happens at the cathode. Okay, so this is electrons which are getting gained, and this is forming hydrogen gas. Okay, so reduction happens at this cathode is the reduction site and anode is the oxidation site. Okay, clear? So in both ways, if you see, it is a reversible reaction, H2 gas and H2 gas, so hence it is also known as a reversible reaction. We are getting the H ions from HCl solution. We are getting these H ions obviously from HCl solution. We know that HCl is one of the best of the electrolytes. So it gets dissociated in aqueous solution as H plus and Cl minus ions. Okay, so these H plus ions which we see here are coming from the hydrochloric acid solution. So this is basically the construction of a standard hydrogen electrode. Okay, you can take a snapshot of the same. Okay, we'll start with again we will, so we were trying to understand electrochemical series, and in electrochemical series we were trying to understand the standard electrode potential of hydrogen. Now we have already understood the standard hydrogen electrode, but how it works is basically it will involve a salt bridge, and see, we have generally studied what is an electrolytic cell, but just to cover up the aspect of salt bridge in it, we are going to just cover the finer aspects of a galvanic cell. Okay, so electrochemistry basically is what? It is wherein the chemical energy is converted into electrical energy, and the other process is when electrical energy is converted into chemical energy. So when chemical energy is basically converted into electrical energy, when chemical energy is getting converted into electrical energy, the process happens in a special type of cell known as the galvanic cell. Okay, so galvanic cells are also known as voltaic cells, and when electrical energy is getting converted into chemical energy, it is known as electrolytic cell. So this is basically an electrolytic cell, and this is a galvanic cell. So chemical energy, chemical reaction energy, energy of a spontaneous redox converted into electrical energy. So this is basically energy of a spontaneous redox reaction which is basically getting converted into chemical energy. Okay, so what do we have here? See, we will have here a beaker which will contain 1 molar solution of aqueous solution of ZnSO4, that is zinc sulfate, and 1 molar copper sulfate aqueous solution. So these are 2 beakers. Okay, and in one we have dipped the zinc electrode, and when in one we have dipped the copper electrode. So we have the zinc electrode here and we have a copper electrode here. Okay. Now what happens is we connect it with a switch and obviously with an emitter. The moment we give the switch, what will happen? What will happen is, see, and yes, on the salt bridge part, which this salt bridge part we are going to deal extensively after this. But first of all, we will just try to understand the basic galvanic cell out here. So salt bridge is what we are trying to understand and what is the purpose. Now what will salt bridge contain? It contains a saturated solution of some electrolyte. So it can be potassium chloride, potassium nitrate, ammonium nitrate. It is a very saturated solution and this will not undergo any chemical reaction. This is very important. Okay. This part will undergo chemical reaction, this part will undergo chemical reaction, I mean electrochemical reaction, but this will not undergo any. There is a specific role that salt bridge has to play there is a specific purpose for which it is kept there. So first of all, we just will understand the basic ingredients of the galvanic cell. So it contains a saturated solution of some electrolyte taken in agar-agar jelly. Okay, this is called agar-agar jelly or gelatin. Okay, basically just to thicken it. Okay, so just to increase in concentration, it is taken in agar-agar jelly or gelatin. Okay. Okay, now what happens in the oxidation part? Now look at this. Okay, at this part, what will happen is the zinc which is there as an electrode, it is going to lose its electrons. Okay, so the process of losing electrons is known as oxidation, of course. Okay, so Zn, that is zinc, will lose its electrons and will acquire positive charge. Okay, so this zinc will be constantly shrinking because this zinc electrode is passing on to the solution in form of ions. The zinc electrode or the zinc metal is basically passing on to the solution in the form of zinc positive ions. Okay, so it is passing on. So obviously if it is passing on to the solution, it will constantly get reduced and it will reduce and reduce and reduce. Okay, so this entire part of zinc will basically keep on reducing. So zinc gradually loses its weight. Okay, the electrons which are lost move towards the copper electrode. These electrons which are lost will now start moving towards the copper electrode. Okay, now what happens at the copper part? So the copper electrode basically undergoes reduction. So this will move here and this will gain electrons from here. So copper electrode basically will gain electrons and will become copper. Okay, so there the reduction part will happen. Here the oxidation will happen and here the reduction will happen. So copper here gains electrons and becomes copper metal. So what will happen here? See here the zinc from the electrode is passing on to the solution as zinc ions, and here the copper ions from the solution are actually getting attached to the copper electrode. So here the copper electrode weight will increase, here the zinc electrode weight will decrease. Okay, so here the copper, see basically copper sulfate is what? It will undergo dissociation into Cu2 plus and SO4 2 Now we know that electrons are flowing because electrons are getting released here. So electrons are flowing through the circuit all the way up to here, and here what is happening? Cu2 plus will actually get itself neutralized. So what will happen? Cu2 plus will undergo reduction by taking electrons and it will become copper. So the site at where reduction happens, we know will act as the cathode side. So this will be the cathode side. Obviously it will be the positive electrode, and we know the reasons why it is positive, because the electrons are coming here obviously. So the electrons are coming here and this is getting attached here, Cu2 plus is getting attached here. So this is the positive electrode and this is the negative electrode. Sorry, this is the positive electrode which is losing electrons, and that's the reason it creates confusion. So this is the positive electrode and this is the negative electrode, which is the cathode. Because it is gaining electrons, so it is the negative electrode, and by losing electrons this is becoming the positive electrode. Okay, but again we do not go by positive and negative electrodes anymore. What we go by is what type of reaction is happening at what electrode. So at the copper electrode, what type of reaction is happening? Reduction. Why? Because copper ions from aqueous copper sulfate solution are gaining these electrons and becoming neutral, because of which the weight of the copper electrode is constantly increasing, because neutral copper metal is getting deposited at this electrode. So this is the site of reduction, hence it will be acting as the cathode, and this will be the site of oxidation because it is losing electrons. This will be the site of oxidation because it is losing electrons. This is the basic thing about the electrolytic cell, or so the galvanic basic, sorry, the galvanic cell. Okay, this is the basic thing about galvanic cell. We will cover more of it, especially the salt bridge part, and we'll take it from there. Okay, so you can take a snapshot of this one. Okay, as been the we will now discuss about the function of a salt bridge. Just in the previous slide we had seen how electrochemical cell is basically designed. So now we will talk about the function of the salt bridge which is there in an electrochemical cell. Okay, so the electrochemical cell, as we have seen in the earlier part, it's not an electrochemical cell, I'm sorry, it's the galvanic cell. I keep on goofing up in this. It is the galvanic cell, which is basically a cell wherein in this case we are using ZnSO4, 1 molar of ZnSO4 here, and 1 molar solution of CuSO4. So both of these are aqueous solutions, and both of these are having the same molarity. Okay, now we are connecting this obviously by a wire. Okay, now and there is this salt bridge. Now in this salt bridge, so we know that, and we have understood that in this half what will happen, in this half oxidation will happen, because zinc from this rod is going to lose electrons and become zinc ions. Okay, so zinc from this rod is going to lose electrons and become zinc ions at this half. Okay, so these electrons will basically flow. So if we are talking about conventional current, it flows from this side to this side, right? So zinc from this rod is going to lose electrons here, and it is going to acquire positive charge. The electrons are going to flow, and hence the current will flow in the opposite direction. So this is pretty much clear. Okay, now we'll move on to the salt bridge part. Now what function, or rather the reduction part. Okay, so what happens in the reduction phase? Here we have copper sulfate solution. So obviously copper sulfate passes on in the solution in the form of Cu2 plus and SO4 ions. This is basically the solution, the electrolyte that is taken here. So copper sulfate and copper ions and sulfate ions are there. These copper ions will start accumulating here because electrons are flowing. So this copper will start accumulating here. Why? Because it will kind of gain these electrons which are coming through the circuit and become neutral copper solid, which is getting deposited here. I hope this much part is pretty much clear, very self-explanatory. So obviously here you will see that the electrode is shrinking, and here the electrode is increasing. Why? Because of deposition of copper metal on this part, and because of loss of zinc from this part, because here zinc is getting converted into ions. Okay, and hence it is constantly on the it is constantly losing this zinc as a part. Okay, so what do we have? So obviously this one will be a half cell, this one will be, these are two half cells. This is called the oxidation half cell, and this is called the reduction half cell. This is called the oxidation half cell, and this is called the reduction half cell. So half cells, these two cells are called the two containers are called basically the half cells. So this, at this phase oxidation happens, so oxidation half cell. At this phase reduction happens, so reduction half cell. We know oxidation is basically the site where, or oxidation is the process wherein the loss of electrons happens, and reduction is the process wherein gain of electrons happens. Okay, now I'm sorry, salt bridge, what is it and how does it help this reaction? What is its basic function in this reaction? So salt bridge basically is in inverted U-tube. If you look into this, this is an inverted U-tube. Okay, so salt bridge is an inverted U-tube with an inert electrolyte. It has inert electrolyte inside it, which means maybe the various types of inert electrolytes that we use are inert electrolytes. We will understand what is meant by inert electrolytes. Inert electrolytes, as we have in case of inert electrodes, we have seen that these are specifically electrodes which do not take part in the chemical reaction. These are not inert electrodes, by the way. Zinc or copper are not inert electrodes. We have inert electrodes like platinum and all. So inert, just as we have inert electrodes, we have inert electrolytes as well. So let's say potassium nitrate is an inert electrolyte, potassium chloride is an inert electrolyte, ammonium nitrate is an inert electrolyte. So these are basically inert electrolytes. It means that they will not take part in the electrochemical reaction which is happening here. Okay, so now this is basically an inverted tube, salt bridge inverted U tube with an inert electrolyte. Okay, now what are the basic features of it? The mobility, okay, I always tend to get, okay, mobility of cations and anions of electrolyte is the same, which means the speed at which or the ease with which cations are moving is the same at with the ease at which the anions will be moving in this part. Okay, so mobility is almost the same. Ions of the electrolyte are not involved in a chemical change. Okay, so what is it and how do we take it? What is the special way, or why will the ions not get involved in this chemical reaction? Because we have taken this electrolyte by mixing it with agar-agar jelly or gelatin, which is basically making it a semi-solid substance. It is basically a semi-solid substance. Okay, so this is a semi-solid substance, and hence it is a saturated solution in agar-agar jelly or gelatin. So this is basically a saturated solution in agar-agar jelly or gelatin, and hence it is in a semi-solid phase, and hence it prevents the mixing, and hence the whatever is filled inside this doesn't take part in the chemical reaction. Okay, okay, now what happens here and why do we need it? So this is the function, just the theoretical part of it. We will understand the practical aspect of it. The salt bridge provides cations and anions. The salt bridge provides cations and anions to replace the ions lost or produced in the two half cells. Now look at this and let's understand this. Okay, here we have zinc which is getting formed. Okay, so in due course of time, in some time, what will happen? There will be an accumulation of Zn2 plus here, Zn2 plus here. So a lot of zinc ions will start accumulating here because zinc is passing on to the solution as zinc ions. Okay, now if this is the case, let's say what will happen here in due course of time, what will happen here? See, here the electrons are getting combined and Cu is getting formed. So here what will happen? See, CuSO4 is basically, CuSO4 is dissociating into Cu2 plus and SO4 2 minus. Okay, now if this Cu2 plus is getting converted into Cus by gaining of electrons which are passing through this circuit, what will happen? There will be an excess of SO4 2 ions that will pile up. Okay, so what is the problem in this cell? What is the problem in this cell? At this electrode, okay, where the oxidation is happening, at the anode basically. Okay, so where oxidation is happening, what is happening? Zinc 2 plus starts accumulating. So it starts accumulating. Now just look at the logic here. If these electrons are moving, why are they moving? Because here we have copper, and copper is basically gaining these electrons. So these electrons are passing through the circuit. But if zinc is forming here, then these electrons will stop moving because Zn2 plus is already available, so they might as well stay here as itself. Okay, so they will stay here. Why will they traverse all this path to reach copper? They will might as well, this Zn2 plus is getting formed, so after some time what will happen? The electron flow will stop. Why will this stop? Because zinc 2 plus is accumulating around here, okay, around the zinc electrode, around zinc. Okay, and look at this. Okay, this is SO4 2 minus ions starts accumulating around the copper electrode. Okay, now look at this. Here the negative ions are starting to accumulate. Here the positive ions have started to accumulate. What was this? What should have been the case? Here the negative and here the positive. But now the reverse is happening, because of which what will happen? Obviously there will be no reason for the electrons to flow here, because here there is an excess of SO4 2 minus ions which will repel those electrons. Even if the electrons happen to cross the circuit and reach all the way up to here, but here there is a piling up of SO4 2 minus ions which will repel those electrons, which is basically working against the passage of electrons. So the electrons will have all the more reason not to traverse all this path. First reason of not going through this path will be obviously that zinc is piling up here. Zinc 2 ions are, or plus ions are piling up here. So why should the electrons always flow towards the positive part? So if the positive charge is accumulating here, they will not flow here. And even if they do, they will be repelled here by the excess of SO4 2 ions, SO4 2 minus ions, or the negative ions which are piling up here. So they have two reasons not to flow in the circuit. One because zinc ions are accumulating here which are positive, and because SO4 2 minus ions are accumulating here which are negative, which are repelling. This will have an attractive aspect, this will have a repelling aspect, and both the aspects are in the same direction, which is not allowing the electrons to flow through. So if the electrons are not flowing through, then no current will pass through. So what will happen, this is basically going to stop momentarily. After some time, this reaction will just continue momentarily. After some time, it's going to stop automatically. So this will stop automatically. Okay. Now comes the role of salt bridge. Okay, so salt bridge does what? Salt bridge, let's say we'll take an example, let's say it is filled with electrolyte KCl. Now KCl will do what? Okay, the Cl minus ions, if you look here, will start moving towards this, so that the positive ions are getting not accumulating here. Okay, Cl minus ions will start moving towards this. So the ions are moving towards this, basically, which is neutralizing the extra positive charge that is piling up here. So Cl minus ions will neutralize the extra positive charge, accumulating around zinc. Okay, zinc electrode. And what will happen? K plus, okay, K plus will start moving here. So they are not taking part in a chemical reaction, they are just causing the neutralizing effect of the ions. Now K plus will start moving here, and it will, these ions, basically this will be an ionic effect. Okay, this is a purely ionic effect. Okay, so ions will neutralize the SO4 2 minus ions accumulating around copper electrode. So they are just causing the reverse effect of charge. They are not, so the Cl minus ions are not going to react with Zn out here. Okay, they are not going to react with Zn, and that's the reason they are taking in a jelly. Okay, so that's the reason they are taking in a jelly, so that they are semi-solid. It's just that the ions will have a neutralizing effect on the positive ions that are getting formed out there. Okay, and similarly K plus ions will have a neutralizing effect on the SO4 2 minus ions that are getting formed around this half cell. So both these half cells, which were seeing an accumulation of charges and which is basically against the electrolytic conduction out here, okay, which is basically stopping the flow of electricity. So these basically charges are neutralized by using the salt bridge. So again, salt bridge is containing an inert electrolyte. Why inert electrolyte? Because it is not going to take part in the chemical reaction. However, it will neutralize the excess of charges which are piling up or accumulating in both the half cells. Okay, and this is the function of a salt bridge. I hope this pretty much makes things clear. And this basically, the purpose of this was to make you understand the working of salt bridge, because in electrochemical series we are going to encounter the salt bridge. So this concept should be clear, how a salt bridge works and what are its functions. Okay, so I hope this makes clear. You can take a snapshot. I know it's a little jumbled up, but nevertheless, if you have paid attention, I don't think it will be a problem for you to understand. Okay, what we are going to understand here is the representation of an electrochemical cell. So we are going to, it's a very short topic, not something very descriptive and difficult to understand as well. Representation of an electrochemical cell. Okay, so how do we basically represent an electrochemical cell? How are the reactions happening? See, just as in a chemical reaction, we represent a chemical equation by a chemical reaction. Okay, so in a chemical equation, the elements are taken in short form, and below the elements either it is written as aqueous, or besides the elements it is written by a let's say if it is in a gaseous form, then an arrow up is shown. If it is in a precipitate form, then an arrow down is shown. So these are certain representations, and these are very short form representations which basically fit into the page as well as give us an understanding of what exactly is happening. If we were to write the entire word equation, that will become a very long format. In the same way, in an electrochemical reaction, we know that there is a side called anode and there is a side called cathode. So we all know that at the anode side what happens and what at the cathode side what happens. So cathode side, reduction happens, and obviously if reduction happens, it is gain of electrons, and at the anode side oxidation happens. Oxidation happens means loss of electrons is happening. Okay, so if we have a very simple cell, the galvanic cell, let's say zinc and copper sulfate are taken. Okay, so in this cell, if we let's say zinc and copper sulfate, okay, so in this cell we have seen that here we have, so at the right hand side we will always write the anode. Anode means the negative potential generally. Okay, and then we have a double line, and then we have the cathode. Okay, so in the right hand side we know that this is basically the where the oxidation occurs. This is the site anode. So what is the anode here? Zn. Okay, zinc is the anode here, and what happens here? Oxidation happens here. Okay, oxidation occurs here. What happens at this site? So here we have the reduction happening. So reduction happens here, and this is the cathode, which is the copper. Okay, now what are the ions here which are basically supporting the reaction? The ions that are getting involved here are Zn2 plus. So we will notice as anodic electrolyte. This is the anodic electrolyte. Okay, and what are the ions that are evolving here? Cu2 plus. Okay, and that is known as the cathodic electrolyte. Cathodic electrolyte. Okay, what is this? What is this basically? This is known as the salt bridge. This is known as the salt bridge. Okay, so this is how the entire thing is designed. So in ZnCuSO4 we have this salt bridge, and we have the zinc and the copper ions as it has been shown out here. So the zinc and so now how will we represent this? So first of all we will represent it by a solid phase. So we have the solid phase as Zn. Okay, then we have the Zn2 plus. Okay, Zn2 plus, and then we have these two, and then we have Cu2 plus, and then we have Cu. Okay, that's how it is represented. See, the double line here represents the salt bridge. The double line here will represent the salt bridge. This will represent the anode. This will represent the cathode. This will represent the anodic electrolyte, the one which is getting oxidized. So in anode the oxidation will happen. So the one which is getting oxidized, the Zn2 plus will be represented here. Anode, the oxidizing, the ions which are getting oxidized and the ions which are getting reduced. Okay, the ones which are getting electrons are the ones which are getting reduced. So we have the cathodic electrolyte here. So this is the cathode, this is the cathodic electrolyte, this is the anode, and this is the anodic electrolyte. Okay, at times we can also have a semicolon out here. So instead of this we can have this as well, Zn2 plus, Cu2 plus, and a semicolon here. At times we can also represent the molar concentrations, such as in the example of galvanic cell we have seen that the molar concentration of zinc sulfate and copper sulfate was 1 molar basically. So we can represent, so the ions which are formed will also be 1 molar. Okay, so here we can write Zn2 plus 1 molar, and this is salt bridge, Cu2 plus 1 molar and Cu. Okay, so this is also a way of writing it. So if at all, see, this is not a problem, but if at all, just a memory trick out here, if at all we kind of get confused, so we can do this. Okay, on the left hand side obviously the anode will be there, so we can actually remember this like this. This is the anode part. Okay, the anode part, and obviously this will be the salt bridge, and this will be the cathode part. So we have here lone, L-O-A-N. Okay, lone means left. Okay, L-O-A-N, that's how we are going to represent, and here the reduction is happening. Okay, so lone, what is happening here? Oxidation. Why oxidation? Because this is the anode and this is the negative one. Now look at it, the corresponding part, L, okay, so left, so this will be right. So look at this, after L comes right, okay. So if we take the first alphabet, alphabetically L comes before R, that's how you can remember. Just a memory trick, if you can just conceptualize it, then there is no problem at all, but just a memory trick. So after L comes the R, after O oxidation, so this is coming as reduction, so after O comes the R, then after A, since it's the anode, this will be the cathode, again alphabetically A comes before C, again negative, and we have here positive, okay. So if we look at their first alphabets, they are in an alphabetical order. So left with starting with L comes before R, starting with comes before R, which is basically representing the right. Oxidation starting with O comes before reduction starting with R, okay. Anode starting with A comes before cathode starting with C. Negative starting with N comes before positive starting with P. So this is how you can remember. This of course would be the salt bridge, okay. This of course will be the salt bridge. So this is a short trick, okay. We can consider certain examples. For example, we have a cell called CuAgNO3, okay. Now copper silver nitrate, and this is a cell wherein if I look at the oxidation part, copper is the one which actually loses electrons. So it loses electrons and it becomes Cu2 plus 2 electrons, okay. So this is how it is becoming. So it is losing electrons. So oxidation is happening here, losing of electrons, and at the reduction potential, what happens at the reduction side, what happens, Ag basically gains these 2 electrons. So 1 Ag will gain 1 electron, so 2 Ag will gain 2 electrons, and this will be basically Ag, Ag2 plus, okay, Ag plus, I'm sorry, 2 Ag plus 2 electrons, this will become, so if I represent the overall reaction will be, so this 2 electrons and this 2 electrons gets cancelled, so Cu plus 2 Ag plus, that's going to be Cu2 plus Ags, okay. Now if I were to consider this to be represented in an electrochemical reaction, if I were to represent this, then this will be Cu, the copper electrode, then we have Cu2 plus, which is what, the anodic electrode, sorry, anodic electrolyte, then we have double, then we have Ag2 plus, sorry, Ag plus, okay, and then we have Ag itself, okay. So this will be the representation, okay. Let's take some more examples here. Of course we can write this as aqueous. This basically will be in aqueous medium, so this is how it will be. The 2 double lines will represent a salt bridge. Other examples that we can take is let's say nickel and AgNO3 cell, nickel and AgNO3, which means what, see at the oxidation part what will happen, oxidation, so here nickel will undergo Ni2 plus 2 electrons, and again at the reduction part what will happen, at the reduction part silver is gaining 1 electron per atom, so 2 atoms will gain 2 electrons and this one will form 2 Ag, okay. So if we have to add all this, so this will be basically overall reaction. The overall reaction here will be Ni plus 2 Ag plus, the 2 electrons are going to get cancelled, Ni plus 2 Ag plus will be equal to Ni2 plus 2 Ag, okay. And again if we were to represent this reaction, how will we represent this, nickel, this will be Ni2 plus aqueous, okay, Ni2 plus salt bridge, then Ag plus, okay, again aqueous, and sorry, we will not have a double line here, we will have a single line here, so this will be Ag, okay. Anode, anodic electrolyte, salt bridge, cathodic electrolyte and cathode. Anode, anodic electrolyte, salt bridge, cathodic electrolyte and cathode, okay. So if we know the basics of oxidation and reduction reaction, it is very easy to basically represent and again we can use a dash or a semicolon in between them. Between the anode and the anodic electrolyte and the cathode and the cathodic electrolyte, we can also use a semicolon. At times when we need to represent the, obviously anode and cathode will not have molar concentrations, but the molar concentrations are in solution, and hence if we are aware of the molar concentrations of the solutions, the ions will have the same molar concentration. So here Zn2 plus will have, let's say, 1 molar concentration and 1 molar. This is something additional that we can do. Either we can write aqueous here, or if we are aware of their molar concentrations, we can also write their molar concentration. So this is how we are going to basically represent electrolytic cells. So this completely gives us an idea. If we were to read this electrolytic cell, it's very simple. Nickel is the anode here. Why anode? Because it is on the left hand side. So it is also the oxidation side, which means that nickel is going to lose its 2 electrons and become nickel 2 plus. Okay, so oxidation is happening here. So it is the anode, which means the negative electrode. It is going to be the negative electrode. Now in between we have the salt bridge. Okay, salt bridge, again we are reading this out. Silver is in aqueous medium. Okay, so this is the right hand side, the right half cell. This is the left half cell. This is the right half cell. So right half cell, again right half cell, what is happening here? Reduction. Why? Because silver is going to gain those 2 electrons lost by nickel, and it is going to get reduced cathode, and again it is positive. Is this understood? Okay, cool. A very simple thing to basically understand, comprehend and follow. Still, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask in the comment section. Okay, so this gives an idea of the entire representation. You can take a snapshot of the same.